Welcome on to the Tortillas and Takes podcast. You are on once again with your boy. I'll be sure. I'm just going to jump right to the chase. All right, Texas Tech beat the hell out of Oregon State. I don't know this is a shocker. I know this is one where you're like, oh man, I didn't know what was going to happen. You knew what was going to happen. So to talk about this butt kicking, this BTA, we got the people's champ himself, Jeremy Gillen. What's up, Jeremy?
Kicking butts and butt kicking. What's up, Albie? That was the longest rain delay I've ever been a part of in my life.
In your life?
Yeah.
How long was it? Was it 90 minutes?
2 hours.
Oh, was it 2 hours?
Yes.
One thing I do appreciate about it is that because of the rain delay, I was leaving my daughter's soccer game, and I was gonna, I was like, all right, I will not miss the first touchdown again. So I was like, you know what, we're just gonna listen to this in the car on our way to this pizza place, right? This restaurant. And so then the rain delay happened. I'm like, huh. So we went, we did Germany. We went. There was like a little festival outside the pizza place. The girls made slime. Then we went inside the pizza place, had a nice pizza dinner, or lunch, had a nice pizza lunch. We got home, and right when we got home, they're like, all right, rain delay's about to be over. And I'm like, great. Turn the TV on.
Turn up, Albie.
Because I wouldn't have been able to get home till like halftime originally. It was like, all right, just going to see the second half. But now I'm like, this works. I know everybody else is upset, but this works out. And I turn the TV on. Second half begins. 2 plays later, there's a touchdown at 7-0. I'm like, I was here for it. Good job, everyone involved. Thank you, Mother Nature. So it was really that simple. Right from the very beginning, Texas Tech, before the rain delay, Oregon State actually got the ball first, which is, I think, the funnier aspect of this because I believe this is the first game this season we weren't on defense first. Mm-hmm. So Texas Tech Oregon State gets the ball first, and it's a quick, smooth, easy 3-and-out. Texas Tech then makes one play to Jacoby Williams, and then it's like, all right, back it up. Rain delay. Then we come back. Or actually, no, it was like 3 plays. It was like 2 or 3 plays before the rain delay. And then we come back, and it's, all right, Barron's like, let me throw this past to see Doug, get the dust off. Oh, man, incomplete. That's crazy. All right, Coy, how about you try this? 38 yards touchdown. That's more like it. It was just that simple. It was really that simple. It was a pass to get the dust off, and then a pass for a touchdown. And right there, I think we should have known, Barron's going to be on one. Because the pass to Coy, great pass, great catch, towed the line, touchdown, just like that. And that was really a precursor to the rest of the day.
That's right. Elite. And I think you hit on the nose, like elite after a 2-hour delay. And they were talking about it, on the radio, you could hear it where, how do you kind of measure, you've got amped up for this game, your third home game, going to go 3-0, got the Oregon Ducks. Beavers. We got the Beavers, Oregon State Beavers coming in. The Bees, the big beaver, the inflatable beaver, right? They had it all out going on. But, and then 2-hour delay. And it's just like, dang, you get yourself hyped up, and then what? You got to sit down and wait. But, yeah, Texas Tech didn't take that to any didn't take that really hard. Baron Morton locked in the whole time.
It's funny because to that point, that should have been an advantage for Oregon State. This is Oregon State, like you said. Everyone's hyped up. Everyone's amped for this game. Let's go. That rain delay allows a team like Oregon State to be like, all right, this gives us an advantage. You're knocked up because you're already on the road. If you're Oregon State, you're already on the road. So you're already at a disadvantage in that aspect. But this rain delay now knocks Texas Tech off course. Right? When you're on the road, you're off course. You're even if Oregon State, when they go to games against Oregon, you're still off course, even if it's not a flight. You're in a locker room that's not your own, right? Mm-hmm. You're in for Oregon State, when they come to Lubbock, they have to fly. They're not staying the night before the game. They didn't stay in their own beds, right? It's micro things just like that already throws you off course, right? And so, but what the rain delay does is it also throws the home team off course. So that's already off top advantage Oregon State. So I never ever thought we were going to lose this game, but I was wondering if the rain delay was at least going to throw us off course. And then 2 plays later, we score a touchdown. I'm like, well, guess not. Right. And then another 3-and-out by defense. I'm like, well, really guess not. But I will say something about this game, Jeremy, is that this game despite it being a 45-14 beatdown, one thing that's great about I heard this. I've heard this before, but I also heard it over the weekend. Is that when you're a coach, the best thing that you could hope for is a win where your team doesn't play perfect, where there's some aspects in the game where you can coach and teach and get better on. And especially offensively, defensively, I don't know how they can play much better. But offensively, there were some aspects where you're like, you know what, we can improve. And so it really starts off with that turnover on downs in the first quarter, right? And so, and I think not only execution-wise, right? I know the last couple of years I've talked a lot about how we've previously in the past, our fan base, we've scapegoated some coordinators when it's an execution problem. Right. And you can maybe argue that the execution is still on the coordinators, but either way, it's an execution problem. This game, offensively, was interesting because the turnover on downs, you could blame execution, but I also think Mac Leftwich is a little bit, there's some things he's still working out. So that turnover on downs, what I mean by that is that after the Cam Dickey run for a yard, it was 3rd and 9, right? We were on the Oregon State 37. Right then, I'm a big believer. You don't make a decision to go for it on 4th down at 4th down. You make that decision in 3rd.
Yeah.
3rd down is when you make the decision of whether or not we're going for it on 4th. Mm-hmm. And so if you make that decision on 3rd down, then the pass play you had to Reggie Virgil wasn't a good one, right? Because that's a pass play you were making for the 1st down. He didn't get it. Now we're at 4th and 9. We don't have a good kicking game right now. Stone Harrington, Upton Belafonte, doesn't matter who you choose. Neither one of them are really great. So you're looking at it. I think about 70% of the country, if you're on the 37-yard line, you're looking at about a 51-yarder. I think 70% of the country would be like, all right, great. 51, 52-yard field goal, we can make that. We're not one of those. We're in the 30%. We're in the 25 to 30%. That's like, I don't know if we can make that. So we decided to go for it on 4th and 9. I'm not against the decision to go for it on 4th, especially with the kicking game. But I am against the decision for that 3rd down call, knowing you're going for it on 4th, right? I know everybody hates screens and draws, but a screen and a draw or a crossing pattern or something short to make 4th down more serviceable in that 4th 9, that's the way you go. And so I think that turnover on downs was lost with that 3rd down call.
No, absolutely. I mean, I was completely in the same boat when I watched it. I just think that, if you're going to go for it on 4th, your play before that should have been a completely different call. Like you should be playing for that positioning before you get to the whole. And so, Leftwich definitely kind of still feeling it out with his team. I will say, it's hard to imagine that we've shown too much of the book at this point, but it's been excellent so far. Like this offense has really hummed in a lot of ways where we feel like, with the defense, with an overly competent defense that we have, which is still have yet to get the ones that still have yet to give up any kind of points, having an offensive game that can adjust to kind of how the opposing defense is playing, at least so far. Oregon State probably being the best defense we have played, whatever that means. It's just like, it's good to see, Mac Leftwich is like making his playbook work. Now, I do agree, younger coach, right? If you deciding that you're on that side of the field, might as well go for on 4th, 100% time. And I would expect that between kind of Coach McGuire's couple of seasons in here and playing that 4th, going on 4th kind of like mentality of like, I'm that dude, right? Hopefully he and Leftwich talk a little bit about, okay, well, if we're going to do that, we need to, if they can kind of meet in the middle.
Which is funny because I know everybody hated Kitley, but that's actually something Kitley did really well. Kitley actually did really well let's set up the 3rd down to get the 4th down. And I used to remember this because everybody would be, 3rd and 10, why are we throwing a screen on 3rd and 10? Well, so we can get 5 yards, so it can be a 4th and 5, buddy.
That's right.
All right? They actually thought they did a really good job with that. We know we're going for it on 4th, so let's do a screen, a draw, a short pass to make that 4th and 10 a 4th and 4, a 4th and 5, a 4th and 3, and then it's an easy 4th down conversion. Right? Our 3rd down conversion numbers were not great, but because our 4th down conversion numbers were incredible. All right, so that's where that goes. But I will say this: And we saw that actually both of those plays, the third down and the fourth down play, a lot of it was Baron Morton saying, "Yeah, but I'm that dude. I can make this happen." He didn't make it happen then, but he made it happen right after that. Another 61-yard pass to Caleb Douglas, which was the guy you were joking about Oregon State's defense. Buddy just here's the thing. I'll say this: even if he hadn't fallen, I think it would have been a Caleb Douglas catch. Right? Caleb Douglas using his body really well, speed, physical, really good receiver. I still believe he's a Sunday player. But that Oregon State defender, but
it was gonna be a tough day in the film room. I'm telling you though. I'll tell you what, they're gonna replay that slow.
Yeah, this is Johnson. This is what you okay. Let's see it again. Let's see it again.
Hold on. Did you see what might happen there? You fell down something.
You're pissed down your leg. But so I will say this: the only time in the first 3 quarters that Oregon State got any burn was right after that. Right, they were able to drive down a little bit. It was really capped off by that 30-yard play to Trent Walker. Trent Walker was really the only player on the Oregon State team that did. And let me tell you something. I tweeted this. I really feel bad for Malik Murphy. I didn't come from this game thinking he was a bad player. No, I didn't think he was a good player, but I don't think he was a bad player, right? His teammates stink because Trent Walker is the only player worth a damn on that offense, and he had 4 drops. Okay? Your best offensive player still had 4 drops. Not like, man, Texas defense. It's more like, oh my God, just dropped the ball. So if that's your, because I tweeted and a couple people were like, yeah, but Trent Walker's pretty good. And then he had a drop like right after that. I'm like, this guy, all right.
This one,
I mean, in the preview pod, we talked about the fact that the only guys that we were even, thought about was Anthony Hankerson, who had a rough day. And then Trent Walker, who had 4 drops. So, but anyways, he did have that pass with Trent Walker to get the first down. And right after that, AJ Holmes, a nice little smack to the face to Malik Murphy. And so really got them in field goal position, right, for the first time. One thing I do love, and this happened a couple times for the defense, anytime something negative happened at Texas Tech, the defense, tightened their belt and was like, all right, let's hold it. Because after that penalty, the Oregon State offense moved the ball 2 yards on 2 plays, then an incompletion. Then you give your field goal kicker, who's also not great, a 47-yarder, and he misses it. Just straight up misses it. Yeah, absolutely. Complimentary football. They were just like, hey, my bad, coach. We're going to get it back. And they did. They got it back right away. Right? And speaking of getting it back right away, before we talk about this, I just want to talk about the defense a little more. So Bear Morton throws an interception. Immediately afterwards, 3 plays later, Texas Tech, Bryce Pollock gets the ball right back.
Don't worry, I got you. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. Gets the ball right back. And I talked about it in the preview pod. Bryce Pollock, hey, with the whole Amir Boyd situation, you're going to start. You're going to get more playing time this game. Make the most of it. And he made the most of it.
Buddy. Yeah.
Made the most of it. A great game from him. Not just the 2 interceptions that he had in the day. Lockdown. It was absolute lockdown in this game. So I said a great game. So I said I'll talk about the defense a little bit. Hey, Baron, bring yourself back here. All right. Bring that out here. Okay. Baron. The drive is going so well. You're on the Texas Tech 7. We're about to score a touchdown. Right? Baron. Dude, you gotta just throw it away, man. So to get a little recap of the play, right? He is we're covered. Oregon State secondary does a good job. Team pretty covered. It's going to be a coverage sack because though the O-line holds the guys up, the guys are able to pressure him a little bit, get into his face. He's doing a little running backwards. And with it being 3rd down, he's like, well, let me just throw this thing. Caleb Douglas is out there somewhere. Or was it Terrence? I think he was throwing to Terrence Carter. Terrence Carter's out there somewhere. He's going to have the hops. He's going to be able to bring this down. Dude, you cannot do that. It was a bad interception. That's not on Terrence Carter. It's not on Mac Leftwich. That is on Baron Morton being way too confident in his ability.
Yeah.
Right. And I get it. You balling at this point. I get it. I understand it. You balling. You got this. You got the. And I'll say this about Barron. He's got the juice back. I haven't seen the juice since his freshman year. He's got the juice back. I can see the swagger. Ever since this is the first time I've seen Barron like this since he had cornrows in his hair. Remember that a few off seasons ago, right? He has the swag, but he has a little too much confidence in his ability, and that's a good example of that. Really bad interception.
Yeah, I'm comfortable saying uncharacteristic in the way that we've talked about, especially in the offseason, being such an efficient quarterback. And he's really leaned into a very pro style this season. Although I will say a couple of runs from him. But ultimately, he's made a really good name for himself in being the efficient quarterback. And that interception, I didn't expect him to be interception-less this season, but I expected him to be more like, dang, trying to, just trying to make something happen and, interception. But between that one and where he threw, it was Terrence Carter, I think, again. But it was like I got
buddy. It's quintuple coverage. Like, and mind you, it was still fairly accurate. But bro, even if Terrence Carter catches that, you're gonna get him killed.
Yeah, that was just foolish. They were blips on the radar, but still, that stuff's important when you start to play much better defenses. Because in those situations, you will be in a situation later in the season where you need that touchdown, and you can't waste a drive that's getting to that red zone by just forcing it.
But here's the thing, or not even a touchdown. You need the field goal. It was a third down. So if we don't get a completion, we just get the fourth down. It was right up there. So I think you would be able to give it to Harrington or Belafonte to be able to kick a field goal. So just take the points. Right now, we're not in this game at the time of this interception. I think it was 21-0, right? Nothing's happening here. We know we're going to beat this team. We know it's not going to be a big deal. But what happens next week? We play Utah. And that can't happen against Utah. We got to take the points against Utah. We got to take the field goal against Utah. So I know you want to be Superman, but sometimes, to your point, Jeremy, and I didn't even think about this, his greatest ability the last 2 years has been he does not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
That and now that you're healthy, now that you feel like you're the man, that doesn't mean that you say, I'm okay to turn the ball over now. No, man, you still got to be the careful quarterback that you've been the last 2 years, just with the ability to do more now. Right? And so, because that's, to me.
Don't be an Avery Johnson.
Yeah, facts. Because to me, that's his best ability. That's the reason why he is become now one of my favorite Red Raider quarterbacks. Might even be my favorite Red Raider quarterback since Mahomes. But it's because he's taking care of the ball. Tyler Shuck, y'all know, if y'all been listening to this podcast for a while, I was big on Tyler Shuck, very high on Tyler Shuck because of his ability. However, where he lost me was he started turning the ball over. And you can't have that. Ask Florida fans. You can't have that. All right? Because let me tell you something. I was high on DJ Lagway. I'm off the train. 5 interceptions, can't do it. I'm off the train. I'm off it. So, but I did find solace in that how Barron turned the ball over with the interception. Malik Murphy did the same thing. Did the same thing right immediately afterwards. And then Bryce Pollock took advantage. Right. And so with that, after Bryce Pollock took advantage, again, complimentary football, Texas Tech getting that touchdown immediately afterward, making it a 28-0 game. And it's all good in the hood at that point, right? I think we're all very happy. That last touchdown to make it 28-0. The drive was very slow bites, or not even slow bites, efficient bites, I would say, because you had the nice run by Cam Dickey, and Cam Dickey, that run he had with a little in and out to the side. Let me tell you something, and I haven't mentioned this in the pod. I don't like the number 8 on Cam Dickey. Don't like it. All right, because I think of Cam Dickey, I think him and Jacoby Williams actually should switch numbers. If you're wearing the number 8, you're a gadget, I'm a number purist. Okay, you're to me, you're a gadget guy. You're a fast speed demon, and Cam Dickey typically is the in between runner, right? But you need 28. 31.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Something like that. Right. So that's why I wasn't a fan of Cam Newton switching to number 8. But if he gonna do moves like that in and out and start juking some players, you can keep 8. Like that should be a stipulation. I feel like as a coach, I'm like, are you gonna wear this number 8? I need to see at least a juky game.
Oh,
spin move or hurdle. Or like Terrence Carter, he can keep 7 if he keeps hurdling people.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like that's how, and so so that in and out was clean. Again, Koi can got on the board as well. The Morton to Koi connection is just is lethal.
Still there. Yep.
Yeah, it's lethal. But then that pass to Terrence Carter again. Baron Morton's just like, and that was the play I think, if I remember correctly. He had that pass, hit the Terrence Carter in the back of the end zone, and he hits the Jordan shrug. After that, like I do this. And that's why I'm like, yeah, you're really feeling yourself right now. Okay? Yeah. You are truly, truly feeling yourself at this moment. Actually, no, I take that back. That was I'm actually getting ahead of myself. I think the one in the first half was in the back of the end zone. That was just Terrence Carter being the man. The one in the second half, the beginning of the second half, where we got 35-0, was the one in the back of the end zone with the Jordan shrug. And that's when I was like, yeah, you really feeling yourself here. You're the man, huh? So it was all good at that point. It was all gravy. It was great. Bryce Pollock gets an interception right after that again. We were able to right after that. I believe Baron Morton his last drive leads us to a field goal, and it's 38-0 at that point. Will Hammond comes in. One thing I'll say, I'm interested to see, and I know we're looking in the future with Will Hammond next year. They were talking about on the broadcast as far as like this being, everybody knows in the building that Will Hammond will have the keys next year. Kind of like, I hope not just like Arch Manning, but kind of like last year when Arch Manning was new that he would be taking the keys from Quinn Ewers at Texas. All right, I think everybody in the building knows Will Hammond's the guy, right? Yeah. And so what's interesting about Will Hammond is that I think he still has a lot of work to do with his accuracy. However, we have not had a running quarterback like that. I don't know the last time we've had a running quarterback like Will Hammond. No. And when Barron first got on the scene, his was a lot more of he was very much of an improv, had a lot of improvisation. He was an improviser. That's the word I was looking for. He was an improviser, had a lot of improvisation. Will Hammond just be burning. He's like, I don't need to improvise.
He's like,
I can run a 4.640. All right. I don't need to improvise. I'm just faster than these guys. All right. You know what I mean? So, which I don't know the last quarterback we've had that was just faster than these guys. Only I can think of one, but I don't like to say his name on the podcast.
I was right there. Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, like Pat was an improviser. He wasn't a straight line runner. Nick Shimanek had some straight line speed when he wanted to use it, but he was a little more of a statue in the pocket than anything. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm trying to. Yeah, we've had a lot of improvisers, but not a lot of just fast guys. Hammond might be the fastest that we've had, and so it's interesting to see him. I would like to see him. I'm not as gun ho on Hammond as everybody else, but I like to see his running ability, and he whether good or bad, he does remind me a bit of Avery Johnson. So I want him to improve on the negative of Avery Johnson a little more. So with that being said, I think from that point on, that touchdown on where we had 45-0, offensively, I think we struggled a little bit. And here's the thing I would say this about Oregon State: they never took their ones out. So which was I think good to see, because in the last 2 games, whenever our 2s went in and our 3s went in, though Kent State and UAPB still scored, their 2s and 3s were also eventually came in. For Oregon State, the 2s never came in. Malik Murphy and Trent Williams and all those guys were still playing at the end of the game. They scored the 2 touchdowns with the 1s. So it's 1s versus 2s, which is good to see, right? Because to me, I'm like, okay, how do you guys all play against? Like I was talking about it last week, how even the backups at Texas Tech should still be better than the starters at Kent State and UAPB.
Yeah.
This is one of the lone exceptions where I don't know if that still rings true, right? I don't know if backups at Texas Tech should be better than the starters at Oregon State.
Yeah.
I think Oregon State fans would say, hell no. I think Oregon State fans would be like, absolutely not. But I don't, this is one where I'm like, okay. And I think in this game, it was pretty obvious that the starters at Oregon State were better than the backups at Texas Tech, which is fine. But it still makes me, it gives me a little bit cause for the depth a little bit. That's all. Anything else you want to say to this game? Texas Tech wins 45-14.
I mean, nothing really more to say. I was a little bit off my prediction, but, it was a great game. I'm excited we're just all excited for the next week.
Well, blame Hammond for that INT because it would have been, Hammond don't get that INT, maybe.
Buddy. He's like, wait, they predicted what? Nah, not today.
So, on the broadcast, they were actually talking about one of the reasons why Morton was still in the game. And I don't think they weren't told this by any means, but this is what they were hypothesizing, was that the team really wanted Hammond to get 500 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Morton,
sorry, not Hammond. Yeah, Morton to get 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, which is, the last drive with Morton in there, I was like, why? Right? So, but that's what they were hypothesizing, which would have been an incredible feat. Because he balled in this game. 464 yards, 4 touchdowns. Great game. A game that I think, and that's why I put that in our chat, I put it, one of the lead PFSN guys, Pro Football Scouting Network. He said Behren Morton is in the discussion for best quarterback in the country. Now, I'm gonna take my bias hat off and say Behren Morton is not the best quarterback in the country. Yeah. But I think the key of there is just saying, hey, he is balling in a way. And for the first time I think I looked at the game this weekend and I said Behren Morton might be a Sunday player himself. Maybe not a starting quarterback, but somebody getting checks on a professional NFL team. I could definitely see Behren Morton there, right? And maybe not even having a Davis Webb, Cliff Kingsbury career, but more so like having one that is there for a little bit. Like the way he played on Sunday looked like somebody. He's going to use that tape and be like, all right, send it off to some NFL scouts. And scouts are going to start, I think that this game against Oregon State and then however he plays against Utah will really raise his profile.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All right. So Behren Morton, 23 for 35, 464 yards, 4 touchdowns. Cam Dickey, 17 carries, 77 yards, 1 touchdown. Jacoby Williams, 13 carries, 48 yards, 1 touchdown. We didn't talk enough about the Dickey and Williams duo. I will say, interesting, Adam Hill, not a lot of burn in this game. We thought maybe he'd get an increase because of how he played in the first 2 games. Barely played in this game. But Dickey and Williams, I think both had really good games in this one. Really good to see. Corey Aikens, 6 catches, 139 yards and a touchdown. Jacoby Williams, not just running the ball, but 7 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. Terrence Carter, 6 catches, 102 yards and a touchdown. John Carlos Miller, 1 incredible catch for 17 yards and another almost incredible catch on the sideline there. Reggie Virgil, 2 catches, 29 yards. C-Doug, that 61-yard catch for a touchdown. Caleb Douglas. And so who was your offensive player of the game?
Terrence Carter, man.
Terrence Carter
balled out.
There's a little tight end bias here.
What was funny is that, I was talking about, Reggie Virgil needs to have a big game. They didn't really target Reggie Virgil at all. No. And they were like, actually,
he played a lot, but he didn't catch much.
Yeah, actually, I'd love my boy Terrence Carter go up and get this. And even without that one-hand paw that was going to be insane, top 10 level quality, just excellent. Excellent positioning around the field. Really good. Just a really good, agile dude, which is, something I'm thankful we're getting a little bit more of in that kind of tight end spectrum. Because it's just like, if you have somebody who's really mobile and has a lot of kind of versatility like that for a tight end, and he can block too. Like he's been pretty good at blocking. So it's like, dude, he played really well. Really good game.
Another potential Sunday player. Like how many?
That's true.
Though I will say his problem in the NFL is going to be his height more than anything.
Yeah,
6'2" is not a great height for a tight end. But yeah, no, you're right. Good blocker, good catcher. Terrence Carter, good game. I'm going to give it to Jacoby Williams though. Hey, I bought low on Jacoby Williams stock last year. All right. And I am reaping the benefits. Incredible game overall. Like I said, 13 carries, 48 yards, and 7 catches.
3rd and 26. Just give it to Jacoby.
3rd and dude, he did it twice. He did it twice. But they were just like, man, dang, the first down is a mile away. Give it to Jacoby. And both times it was just like, hey, say less. It's not a problem. All right. No, he was absolutely incredible in this game. And so showing just how much of a weapon he is. And I mentioned it before. I didn't think that the Quentin Joyner injury was going to reduce, I didn't think it really was going to affect Jacoby Williams as much because Jacoby Williams was always going to be a gadget guy, right? Mm-hmm. Like Quentin Joyner never got hurt. He was still Jacoby Williams was still getting these 7 catches for 116 yards. I think really what it helped is that now Cam Dickey's getting more touches than he typically would. But Jacoby Williams was always going to be that guy. He was always going to be that A-back. He was always going to be the guy that was – he's actually remember Justin Stockton? That's the type of role I think Jacoby Williams plays. And I'm not willing to say this yet, but I do kind of think he's better. Or at least, just raw talent-wise, I think he's better. Now, let's see him put it together like Justin Stockton did. All right. Defensively, Jacob Rodriguez, 7 tackles and half of a tackle for loss. Cole Wisniewski, 7 tackles, a sack, and a tackle and a half for loss. John Curry, 7 tackles. Lee Hunter, 5 tackles, half a tackle for loss. Romello Height,
he back
off of an injury. Let me tell you something. Romello Height was not supposed to play in this game. Not only does he play, he starts. Not only does he start, he gets a sack in the first, just like that. First sack of the game. Was absolutely incredible. Added 4 tackles to that as well. Bryce Pollock, 2 interceptions, 6 tackles on the day for him also. And this defense as a whole held Malik Murphy to 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. You want to know how many rushing yards the team got overall? 8. They got 8. They held Anthony Hankerson to 11 carries on 12 yards. It was pretty bad. David Wells Jr. for Oregon State did lead the way for receiving, 6 catches for 103 yards, but a lot of that was garbage time, fourth quarter stuff. Trent Walker was really the only one that got anything going, but even he was held to 67 yards. Anyways, who is your defensive player of the game?
I mean, I'd say Romello Height because of the story, but Cole Wisniewski. I mean, being a defensive player, getting a sack, buddy. And he was on top of, really playing a very utility strong safety role in like blitz packages and stuff like that. I mean, a pretty great game.
The hell is wrong with you?
What do you mean?
It is Bryce Pollock.
Yeah.
It is Bryce Pollock. 2 interceptions on the game from Mr. Pollock. 6 tackles on the game from Mr. Pollock. A lockdown corner. Actually, I need to pull up the stats because I know he had actually
from Mr. Pollock.
A couple pass breakups as well. Absolutely incredible game for Bryce Pollock. To your point though, Cole Wisniewski really came on the scene this game. I don't think he really came out as much in the first 2 games, and so to see Wisniewski really ball in this game was really good to see. But Bryce Pollock, I think, really seized his opportunity in this game overall. And I'll say this: the secondary played really well, and not just. I know some. Well, there was some. I think you'll hear a lot of people question the secondary a little bit because Malik Murphy still was able to make some things shake. Trent Walker still able to make some things shake. David Wells was able to get some burn overall in this game. So a lot of people are going to say, "Well, I'm still really concerned about the secondary." Yada yada yada. This is what I'll say here about the secondary. Passing plays are going to happen. They're going to happen. It is what it is. It's going to happen in that aspect. Do I think the secondary is as good as the D-line and the linebackers? No, I don't. I do think that the front 7 of the work of the linebackers and D-line helps the secondary and allows Bryce Pollock to do what he did. And then also Cole Wisniewski, not just being great in coverage, but also being great in pressure up top, also is going to help the secondary out. And so Bryce Pollock's able to get those 2 interceptions, able to do what he was doing. They just got to, I do think the secondary needs to push up a little bit more, but Pollock did a great job in this game.
I think that Shield Wood is the real deal, if I'm being honest.
0 points in 3 straight games in the first 3 quarters.
I don't care what you say. Texas Tech ain't done that in a century.
Other broadcasts, they were actually talking about this being the greatest Texas Tech defense what was the year? I think it's since 09 or something like that. I would say so. I mean, since 09 was the last year of Ruffin McNeil, who is, in my opinion, the greatest Texas Tech defensive coordinator of all time. And so this, I mean, it's, mind you, since 09, the bar is hell. Okay, for the best defense since 09. All right, the bar is hell. It's very low. Because I hate to say it, but the best defense we've had since 09 is a Tommy Tuberville defense. All right, and so the bar is hell. But talent-wise, I absolutely agree. This is talent-wise the best defense since then, and we're going to see it on the field here coming up. Just how good of a defense we have overall. So, anything else you want to say about this game, Jeremy?
Glad it's over. Hated the rain delay.
So let's go around the Big 12, shall we? Around the Big 12 a little bit. And starting on Friday night, Colorado at Houston, where I talked about in the preview pod how this game I thought was going to tell us a little bit about both teams. And it told us that Colorado probably stinks. I will say, if I would have known that Ryan Staub was starting this game, I don't think I ever would have picked Colorado to win it. That's just a bad decision. That's just an all right. And he looked bad. He looked terrible. And it makes me question, just how bad does Caden Salter look? And Caden Salter didn't play that terribly in the game before. Right, so just how bad does he look in this, and to start Ryan Staub there, and then when I was watching the game, they were talking about Ryan Staub when he was announced the starter went up to the OC, Coach Fulmer was like, "Oh man, these are the plays I like, these are the plays I don't like," and they're like, "Man, that shows leadership." I'm like, "No, that shows he stinks." Okay, that shows he's like, "I can't be
coach." Yeah, I don't want to learn it.
Yeah, that offense was bad. Colorado fans have picked their scapegoat and Phil Fulmer. I said Fulmer. Their OC. Can't remember his name right now. But Houston, flip side, looked pretty good. What are your thoughts?
Houston's defense, again, I'm going to keep saying it, despite losing Shield Wood, is still pretty dominant. So that's an incredible sidestep, a lateral step for them, excuse me. But Houston, surprising, 3-0. I mean, they haven't played anybody, but they'll get to play Oregon State next after their bye week, and then I mean, it's just a surprising kind of upvote for Houston here. No real surprise with Colorado. I mean, we talked about it, losing Sanders and Hunter. It's like, what does Colorado have left? They had a chance to prove it. They have not worked hard to prove it.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. Wegman, I still believe Wegman's a good quarterback. I know a lot of A&M fans were like, "Oh, he sucks," whatever. I still think he's a decent quarterback anyway. Maybe not good, but decent.
Yeah.
I think Dean Connors, great story, transfer from Rice, really good running back. I played with him in college football 26, and he's as good in real life. So they do have some weapons. Tanner Koziel, the tight end, also pretty good. Steven Johnson, the receiver, is pretty good. They have some weapons. I still question the overall talent level of the team itself. Yeah. Right? I think Houston has always been a team that has high-end talent and low-end talent and nothing in the middle. And I mean, Texas Tech's had the same problem, right? And when you don't have anything in the middle, you're susceptible to a lot of L's. And so I still question that. But I will say this: Willie Fritz Bowl, I think it's real. And so, we got to watch out a little bit for Houston as they grow into Willie Fritz Bowl a little bit. So good win for Houston, 36-20. Also Friday night, Arizona, Kansas State. Arizona, the team you said to watch out for. What were your thoughts on this game?
Got to feel good for Arizona fans. Got to feel good. I mean, even though Kansas State was not in a good spot coming into Tucson, I think that Arizona State took advantage, or Arizona State. I think Arizona really took advantage of that. They played their game. They kind of identified where Kansas State was going to have issues. And yes, Noah Fafita didn't have a good passing game, but where their passing wasn't stellar, the read options for Arizona were really slapping because, they had the Kansas State defense going one way, and Noah Fafita would just pull it, and then there he's got 20 plus. He had no hard time with that, and I think that they did, and Ishmael Mahdi as well. nearly 200 yards in the game rushing. So they said, I mean, if you don't want to give us any airtime, that's fine. It's going to ground and pound it. See ya. And Kansas State just had no real. I mean, couldn't keep Arizona from getting at least a point. Couldn't keep them off the board. So great win for Arizona, man. 3-0. Another surprise. Arizona and Houston both kind of like did not see that y'all would be playing this well so far.
So I'll say this. I did not leave the game feeling like Arizona was good. I left the game feeling like, dang, Kansas State, you really suck. You're really bad.
Can it not be both?
No, not really, because the thing about it is that, like, Avery Johnson was really bad in this game.
Yeah.
Avery Johnson was so bad in this game, I'm like, man, who's the backup? Which I didn't think we'd get there, but that's how bad he's played this year so far. And so he was really bad in this game, but like I didn't watch Noah Fafita thinking that he was just this great quarterback. I didn't watch the Arizona offense thinking they were good. I will say that, maybe there's a question of like, is Arizona's defense doing a lot of the heavy lifting of making Avery Johnson and the offense, Kansas State offense looking bad? But flip side, we've seen that Kansas State offense look bad in previous games too, right? So, I just didn't leave this game thinking Arizona was that good of a team. Like to me, I still got to see a little bit more from Arizona before I say yes, good team. Right. And so they made a lot of mistakes, especially offensively, right? Like that passing game was pretty suspect. So like I don't know. I still think we got to see a little bit more from the Wildcats.
Oh, for sure.
Or from Arizona, because they're both Wildcats, but from Arizona before we stamp on. K-State, brother. We talked about the lounge. We don't get into the lounge here in a little bit. You're about one bad loss from being banned. Okay. Be flat out banned from the loss because it does not look good. One thing before I get to this next game, I know that a lot of the season has been so far for Texas Tech. We haven't played anybody, right? Yeah, we beat Oregon State 45-14, but this is Oregon State. Let me tell you something. I do not take this for granted. I do not look at the 3 games and say that, they're nobody, so it doesn't matter, because Iowa State was in a dogfight with Arkansas State. They were in a dogfight. So we forget the fact that we beat Abilene Christian by a point last year. Don't take these games for granted. All right. Iowa State beats Arkansas State 24-16. And like I said, what was a dogfight, the Red Wolves gave Iowa State all they can handle. And they had the ball. With 6 minutes to go, had the ball. Actually had the ball at the Iowa State 23 at one point, trying to win the game. And unfortunately, they weren't able to do it, or at least tie the game and go to overtime. And unfortunately, they weren't able to do it. But Iowa State an absolute dogfight, but they won.
Yeah. Well, Sun Belt powerhouse Arkansas State won't bow down to anybody. But yeah, just surprisingly unproductive day for Iowa State offensively against a supposedly like much less talented team in Arkansas State. One of those but again, like Iowa State's one of those teams that this doesn't make me feel any less about Iowa State.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go, wow, Iowa State, you suck, because next week they'll go play whatever good team and then they'll thrash them in a much different manner. Iowa State very much a team that just likes to exist on getting by and winning, not trying to be flashy about it. So, but I am surprised that Rocco Beck didn't have a better game than he did. But, win's a win.
Well, so next week they play Arizona.
Right.
And so or 2 weeks from now. Sorry, not next week. 2 weeks from now.
They got the bye?
Yeah, they got the bye. So they play Arizona next. And so that'll be an interesting game because I think Iowa State's defense, is still for real. I think Iowa State's defense showed themselves in this game. They showed that they're still here. So this may be a battle of like 2 inept offenses playing each other. 20th ranked Utah 20th ranked Utah at Wyoming. And it was 3-0 at halftime. At halftime, it was 3-0. And then the Utes woke up at halftime and were like, hey, what the hell are we doing? And then Devin Dampier became Devin Dampier.
3-0 at the half, man. I tweeted that out, just like, can I say something? And I enjoy the Utah like civil war of, man, Utah and BYU fans, wherever they can, will vie for ground, because like my mentions didn't become so much like, man, Texas Tech sucks buns. it was more like BYU fans were saying, hell yeah, say what you got to say, brother. And Utah fans were like, will you get out of here? Shut up. What is BYU? And it's just BYU and Utah people yelling at each other. And I'm just sitting in the back, so in chaos. I think Utah got caught looking ahead. I really think so. And we kind of identified that with their fans. And I thought, teams are different, but they definitely did. Wyoming was not going to let them just slide past this game. And we're no strangers to the woes of Laramie, Wyoming. Like, you can't discount this team. You cannot discount that place. And Utah did. They walked in with a little bit of hubris. And at halftime, I'm sure their coach was, hellfire, because 3-0 for a 20th team, that's not good, especially for a candidate like for a quarterback like Devin Dampierre, who's really trying to create like a upper half level Big 12 guy. Did not look the same.
Well, let me tell you something though. Devin Dampierre is a dude. Watching that second half, I'm like, he had a play where he bobbled the snap, picked the ball up, ran out to the side, and drilled.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that play where he dropped the snap and then somehow got up and
it's a great pass.
Made a play. Is it not the exhaustion of the Wyoming defense to not chase him down on that one? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not. There's two ways to look at it. One, what a tremendous pass, or can't believe he literally was slinging the ball back and dropped it.
That's true.
Two ways to look at it.
I think your point is, I said bobble the snap. I'm not. That's true. He fumbled. He flat out fumbled when he was trying to pass it. I think that's a good point, and I think it's a mistake that he made. But I think I'm more focused on the fact that he recovered, rolled out, and drilled the pass on the side, right?
Yeah.
And so, he's a talent. He's just a flat out talent. And so he does worry me a little bit. Not gonna lie, he does worry me a little bit. I think we had a joke in the chat as far as the fact that as quarterbacks go, it is Sawyer Robertson, then it's everybody else, right? But when it comes to everybody else, Morton and Dampierre are right there. That's that, it's Morton, Dampierre, Hoover, right? After that, in that gap of everybody else. And so, it's definitely a talented guy that Devin Dampierre is. Speaking of Sawyer Robertson, they beat the hell out of Samford. I mean, what did you expect?
But Samford gave the recipe. Sawyer Robertson throwing 2 interceptions in that game was unwarranted. See,
so I will say this. Similar to Morton having too much confidence in his arm, Sawyer Robertson falls into the same trap. A lot, actually. Sawyer Robertson has a lot of ability, but he falls into the same trap of, I do this. And I think on Baylor's team, I would argue there's a lot of guys that aren't necessarily like Bryson Washington's great, but there's a lot of guys that I think, especially receiving wise, that there is this thought of, I got to elevate my offense a little bit more. Right. And so that's where I question with Sawyer Robertson is the talent's there, but and I think you saw in the Samford game where he was like, I'm just going to have way too much confidence in my arm and do things I'm not supposed to do.
Yeah. But 2 interceptions. One more than our buddy Morton. So
that's true.
He's worse.
That is true.
He's worse now.
That's how it works.
No. I mean, but I'd never seen Baylor fans so upset about a 42-7 victory. I saw many Baylor fans complaining on the socials about their performance. So yeah, I don't know.
I didn't see any Cincinnati fans complaining. 70-0.
Hell no, they didn't.
70-0.
Stop! He's already dead.
Yeah, it was
first quarter. They gassed. They gassed.
Yeah,
feels good. Cincinnati feels good, doesn't it?
56-0 at halftime. They think they Texas Tech or something. Brennan Sorsby, light work, 15 for 15, 253 yards, 5 touchdowns, like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, Northwestern State, pretty bad, but it doesn't matter. I don't care who you play. 70. I don't care if you play the children.
You threw a perfect game.
Yeah.
5 tutties.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, perfect game. 15 for 15, 5 touchdowns, perfect game. TCU beats Abilene Christian 42-21. Not much really to say here. Josh Hoover also had a really good game, 337 yards, 4 touchdowns. Also putting his hat in the ring as far as being one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12. They were up 28-0 at halftime. Not much the score was closer than the game really was.
Yeah.
Now, Arizona State beat Texas State. Arizona State beat Texas State 34-15 after the embarrassing loss to Mississippi State last week. I was actually impressed by the Sun Devils in this game because I think a lot of people, myself included, looked at this game and said, "Yeah, they'll win, but watch out for Texas State. Watch out for GJ Kinney." This game, I thought this game would be close, and it wasn't at all.
I was predicting tied at the half or damn near close. But yeah, no, I mean, Arizona State played probably their most balanced game of the season, which is why they won so handily between Levitt, Brown, and, Tyson out wide. It's like
Jordan Tyson.
Can be really good. Can be really good. So,
golly.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about
this was like the Arizona State team where it's like, okay, this is a dangerous team to play.
You know what's funny about Jordan Tyson? Brother of Jalen Tyson, for Tech fans that remember that name.
Picture and it's obvious.
Yeah. But he was at Colorado. He originally started at Colorado. And remember when Coach Prime came in there and was like, "Hey, y'all might want to hit the portal because I got my Louis." That was one of the guys he told to get the hell out. And so, I mean,
you big dog.
Not directly, but kind of, right? He was in the room when it happened. So, the guy who might be the the guy who's probably going to be a first-round wide receiver in the NFL draft was at Colorado and could have been part of Coach Prime's team, and instead he's not.
They might have beat Houston. Who knows?
Yeah. So, but yeah, incredible play for Jordan Tyson. It must be nice for Sam Levitt to just have weapons. I mean, I think Sam Levitt also saying like, "Hey, I'm still here. I'm still that guy, the guy you thought I was going to be." So, and I failed to mention Levitt when I was talking about after Robertson. It's those four: Morton, Dampier, Hoover, Levitt. So yeah. And I skipped one game because the game of the week, Pittsburgh at West Virginia. Backyard brawl, hell of a game. What's great about this rivalry, everybody talks about how rivalries throw the records out, throw the rankings out, it doesn't matter. That's not really true most of the time. There are only a few rivalries where that's truly true. Cyhawk's one of them. It's one of the reasons why we like it, where it doesn't matter how good or bad Iowa is, how good or bad Iowa State is, that's always going to be a great game, right? We haven't seen this game in a while, but this is another one. Does not matter what the records are. Does not matter how good or bad these teams are supposed to be. Anybody could beat anybody. Pitt, West Virginia. I do think Pitt's a better team than West Virginia. I do. And it doesn't matter. This game was always going to be a great game. I think I picked Pitt to win. I think you picked West Virginia. You really kicked my butt in game picks this weekend. I think every game we went opposite directions, you won. I feel like West Virginia wins in overtime in a game that Pitt outplayed them. Pitt outplayed West Virginia in this game. Pitt looked like the better team in this game, but it doesn't matter in rivalry games. West Virginia still wins in overtime.
I'm gonna own it that I did pick Pitt to lose late, but West Virginia. My of any rivalry game to this magnitude, you really can't go, "Oh, they're just the better team," because like rivalry games, I mean, it makes the atmosphere completely different. It really does. It makes the whole, like West Virginia, like if they get one win in the year and it's Pitt, they've had a good season, right? So it's like, you get up for these rivalry games, and kudos to them, man. Fighting back from getting beat down by Pitt, and getting that win in the overtime is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, think about the rivalry.
Good night, Morgantown.
Yeah, well, think about the rivalry so much that like our friend of the pod, Brandon Phoenix from the Raspy Voice Kids, they hadn't played Pitt in like a decade, and his Twitter name is still I also hate Pitt. Like that's they hadn't played him in a decade at the point, and when we met him, and it didn't matter. Like he was like, "Hey, screw Pitt, we don't care."
It is the identity. That's right.
Yeah. So great game. So who is your team of the week?
Man, my team of the week? I don't know. It might be West Virginia. They were the underdog. They were not. I mean, we didn't really expect them to win, and to make it an overtime game, number one, and to bounce back from just kind of a disappointing start to their season. To beat a team like Pitt, that might change the trajectory. It might change the way they kind of view what they can do the rest of the season. So for me, it definitely West Virginia. Good one.
West Virginia is a really good pick. I'm going Houston. I think that big dominant win over Colorado too. Like it's it's a game where not only did they get the win, I think they proved a little something in that game too. They proved just how much better they are than another Big 12 team that wasn't supposed to be in the middle of the conference. So I'm going to go Houston. Really good win. There's a reason why they were throwing Willie Fritz up and down there. So good job with the Cougs. All right, before we get out of here, let's talk about the lounge, shall we? So last time we talked about the lounge, right? We had Texas Tech in the lounge. We had Baylor in the lounge. And we had Iowa State. Those three teams sitting comfortably. They're on the couch. And from this week, I think it's safe to say all three of them still on the couch. So all three of them still the favorites to win the conference. All right. We did have who did we have? We did have Arizona State in the lounge, but off the couch. So you got to get off the couch. You got to stand a little bit. I think it's safe to say that we can keep Arizona State in the lounge. Maybe not back. Maybe not back on the couch. Back on the couch? No, not back on the couch. But in the lounge, they're still chilling, right? So Arizona State still chilling in the lounge a little bit. But Jeremy, I know you had Arizona in waiting outside, right by the door. I do not think they deserve to be in the lounge just yet.
Okay. They popped Kansas State, and you said, "You know what? I like it, but not good."
They didn't look like a contender to me in that game. Because to me, I'm looking at Kansas State. Kansas State's the team that's really bummed. Like they're not. Good. You know what I mean? But they didn't. I didn't come from that Arizona game like, oh man, this is a team that can win the Big 12. You know, I just came back and was like, okay, this is a team that's okay. They're better than K-State, which apparently half the conference is better than K-State. K-State has proven that they're the shoes Utah. And I think a lot of fans are like, unfortunately, that may be the truth over there. However, I am going to request an entrance into the lounge. I believe TCU deserves to be in the lounge.
Yeah,
they beat the hell out of North Carolina.
Yeah,
right? They just beat the hell out of Abilene Christian. Like I said, that 42-21 score was closer than the game actually was. Yeah, they looked like a decent team. I think TCU.
Yeah, put them. You can stand at the door. You can stand on the inside.
You can stand on the inside. No, not on the couch. Hey!
Arizona State.
Yeah, don't kick your feet up. But hang on, come here. Let's open the lounge up for TCU. So TCU invited into the lounge. Utah's already in the lounge as well. I forgot to mention them all before. So Utah's in the lounge. So that means lounge in people are Iowa State, Texas Tech, Utah, TCU, Arizona State, and Baylor. That's 6 contenders in the lounge. We do have Arizona hanging out by the door. Right? Is anybody else worthy of consideration to hang out by the door?
Houston.
If
Arizona's at the door, by that metric, Houston's like trying to scoot in front. Arizona. And they're gonna play. They're gonna play each other eventually. So.
Yeah, they are going to play each other eventually. Houston is going to play Tech pretty soon. And this is why I'll say this. Both Utah and Houston, and really every team that plays Texas Tech, because I do think as of right now, the way we beat the first 3 teams, we do give off a semblance of Big Bad Wolf. Right? Mm-hmm. I think Utah kind of does too. But what you'll see is in our schedule here, right? Like the next 4 games we have at Utah, at Houston, home against Kansas, at Arizona State. Every single team is going to say, if we beat Texas Tech, we'll really stamp ourselves as one of the favorites for this conference. Every single team in the next 4, right? Like even for Kansas, they have West Virginia, Cincinnati, UCF. Neither of those teams are teams that are really going to move the needle as far as whether or not you're a contender. But you beat Texas Tech, that's really saying something, right? Yeah. Houston, they got Oregon State before they play Tech, right? They're going to be undefeated before they play Tech. Utah, it was the same thing. That's why they were looking ahead because they're like, we got that Texas Tech team. New position we're in that aspect, right? But I think all 4 of the next teams are saying to really prove ourselves, we got to beat those Red Raiders in order to do so. And so it's good. It's an interesting spot for us to be in, right? And I do think Arizona State, even before they play Tech, actually Arizona State kind of has a gauntlet coming up at Baylor, home against TCU, at Utah, home against Texas Tech, home against Houston, at Iowa State. I mean, sheesh, Arizona State has a gauntlet
coming up. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely time to prove it. Which is why, if you ask me, that loss to Mississippi State really hurts because that's not even the toughest game on their schedule, like not even close. So but every team that we have coming up is like we gotta win this game and really stamp ourselves, especially the next three. I mean, Arizona State has more than just Tech, but the next three teams in Utah, Houston, and Kansas, they got to go through us first. And so I think each of those games, I say all that to say, I think each of those games, it's you beat Tech, you're in the lounge, right? Yep. Utah's already in the lounge, but Houston, you beat Tech, you can make your way in the lounge. Kansas, you beat Tech, we'll see, but maybe. So, anything else you want to say to the people?
Yeah, that's the consequence of us buying our way into kind of that new blood territory of, having the roster that we have and wanting to compete at the next level and go for championships. It puts your target on your back, man. Everybody wants to see what the Red Raiders are going to do. So if you can get a lick on Texas Tech and get a dub, that's better for your program. So you got to expect everybody's best.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, Oklahoma, that was the case for Oklahoma for like a decade, and it didn't matter.
Yeah, they didn't give a rip. They're like, okay, come on, man.
Yeah,
except that one time in 2011.
That's right.
Hey,
shout out.
Raider. Yep.
Yeah, shout out Seth Daggy. So, with that being said, we do have a big game this week against Utah. Very big game. Big noon kickoff is going to be the primary reason this game is at 10 a.m. local Salt Lake City time. We will be good to go. So for the people champ that is Jeremy Gillen, this is your boy Albie Short, and you have listened to Tortillas and Takes podcast, part of the 1012 network. As always, stay erect, people.